Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Tony here, our cabin in the woods. Yeah, I think a lot of people know how to do this. This is my old Ford diesel that I haul a camper with. It's an 02, and it has somewhere, it's about maybe 250,000 miles. Well, the front brakes are starting to chatter real bad, and I don't have no pulling going on. None of that. I did some inspection on it last week before I ordered some parts up for it, and the calipers are not frozen on it, I believe. But the issue is those were the original rotors, and they're just no good. And guys, this is severe duty. I use this thing hauling a lot of stuff, not only that 30-foot camper. I've hauled all kinds of equipment with this thing. It is due. Yeah, it's dirty. Don't look at that. We live on a dirt road. It's due for new rotors and pads. Now, I'm going to do something different that a lot of people don't do, and this is why I'm going to do this video. All right, let's take a look at this. I did this to the Mountaineer many years ago. I'm putting Detroit. When I do brakes, if I need rotors, the only thing I always get is Detroit. That is it. These are the new rotors. Okay. My other ones are flat surfaced. Okay. These are drilled and cross-cut. Okay. These are directional rotors. They only go on one way. I believe the way they go, it sits right now, this is the driver's side, so the wheel will spin this way. Okay, you want that if your brake rotor calipers on these are on the back here, and you want to cut into the rotor, the brake pads. Now, these are ceramic pads you get with this. Oh, I was hoping I didn't even realize that. There's your ceramic pads. Okay, you also get clips. You also gonna get some grease for the slide pins. So what I'm going to do is I already got my jack set up. I'm going to jack them up, get the tires off the ground, break your lug nuts loose first. But while I do this, I am also going to rotate the tires while I got them apart. That's why the jack's there. So let me get this jacked up, pull these wheels off, and I'll show you what the front looks like. Guys, I'm going to show you something really quick. Tires off, okay? You see that right there? Floor jack. Always use a floor jack, period. Do not rely on that. I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but I had a car crush me, say 15 years ago. I had floor jack. I had the jack. I didn't have jack stands. I was using something else, and they gave way. I was pinned under a vehicle in the front end. By the grace of God, I'm alive. Broken ribs, fractured sternum, half my face is black and blue. I shouldn't be here. Please use those right there, no matter what. Also, guys, let's block your tires. I'm going uphill. I'm not worried about too much there. I have an emergency brake on. I do have 2 blocks of wood there. Double checked. Emergency brake on. We got the tires blocked. We shouldn't roll nowhere. That's just another safety thing that we should do. Alrighty, guys, here we go. And yes, jack stands on right down there. We're going to get these brakes taken care of. Now, you can see, let's move that out of the way. You've got a bolt here. And there's going to be another bolt all the way down here in the back on the bottom, the same area that I want to go ahead and take off this caliper separately, okay? Now, we will need to take off this bracket here, and there's a bolt here and another one down below. But I want to take this off because these pins is what this slides in. And we want to make sure that these are not frozen. Make sure that they are sliding good. And that grease packet I showed you is what we take this apart, and we're going to put grease in here and grease down on the bottom on the other side. There's another slide down here. All right, I got these 2 bolts out right here. Now, as you can see, let me move this around a little bit. You can see this caliper is going to move around a little bit. See how it's working free? And that's what we want. We want that caliper to come off the hub. All right, as you can tell, I've got it off. I had to use Big Mo for a prying bar. All right, here's your brake pads, the inner one right here. Okay, and see, they're not, I mean, they're kind of old, yeah. Yep. And here's the other side, the outer ones. And we've got all new pins. I mean, all new springs, everything. That looks good. The next big thing would be to remove this. All right, first thing I want to do is I really want to make sure, I don't know if you can see that good enough. Here's the end of the piston. There's 2 pistons on this. We're going to squeeze it and see if it moves first. I want to make sure each one will move first. If one doesn't move if I squeeze it, then we're replacing the caliper. All right, just big chain locks. I call this Big Mo also, on the extreme. All right, and it's going in. As you squeeze this, it pushes this piston out. You don't want that to happen. But our goal is to watch and see if the piston does move. So let's squeeze it. This piston's moving. Now, to solve that problem, I take one of the brake shoes. I just set it right there in front, and we're going to squeeze right here in between these 2. And we're just going to squeeze to these almost go all the way in and bottom out. I need a Now, you can do it another way. You can use a C-clamp. I have a C-clamp too. And we may have to do that because it will be under a lot of pressure in a way. Let's see. All right, they're going in slowly. Looking good. You can see them going in. If you had a single piston, they go in really easy. All right, I think I'm there. Let's see what it looks like. Right there. Take this, that one out there, another one below, and then this whole piece will come out, and then we'll put this on the bed of the truck or whatever, and we'll clean it out and grease these up really good, and then take this rotor off and get another rotor on. All right. All right, guys, let me show you something. These bolts are very hard to get out. These are the 2 13/16 head. They go this way. Those threads, there's 2 of them. One goes down here, way down back here. Okay, take that out. Those threads right there, right here, screw into this bracket right here. Okay, and then that's what slid in just like that. So we take that out. You have to take this off to get this brake rotor. And these brake rotors are heavy. Have a good bite on it. Don't crush your fingers. All right, now we're going to go ahead and clean up this really good. I use a wire brush on all the surfaces where the brake pad will sit against here, 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 and here. We'll pull out these pins and lube them up. We'll get the new brake clips on also. It's all right here, this surface. Take a wire brush, sandpaper if you can, and we're going to clean that up. That's where the rotor has to mount on there completely level on true good surface. You know, it's kind of dirty. See it? So we need to clean that up a little bit. Alrighty. Alright, remember those slides I was showing you? These? This allows the caliper, when you squeeze the brakes, your brake caliper squeeze, and allows this part of the caliper to float on those studs on these pegs right here. This one's good. That one's sticky. All right. Big difference in the 2. Okay. What I always do is, you can buy these new if you want. You know, we're fine with cleaning these things up. What I've always used is I have got 2 older battery terminal cleaners. I usually pull one of these things out of there, and I usually go in there and just start doing that with it. Cleaning it out as best I can. Getting as much as I can out of there. Just keep working all that on both of these. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to get these all cleaned up. I'll wire wheel these, get these nice and cleaned up, and then we'll put new grease on them. So let me see right here. I actually have another one that's even better. Let's grab that. Oh, there we go. You can see it's a lot newer, a lot fuller. So now we're just going to go in and really clean it up good. And we will go deeper. But see how clean that come out right now? It looks really good. We're going to do the same thing with that one. Don't want to mix up your pins. We'll do the same thing. That's better, and you can see it's starting to clean it up. So I got brake clean over here. I'll get a rag. I'll squirt it in here, clean it up. I'm going to clean up these surfaces too right here a little bit. Get this thing pretty much cleaned up as best as I can. All right, I'll show you something. I've got this all wire brushed down. Everything's cleaned up. All these grooves are cleaned up. Remember, this one is really hard to go in and out. There's no grease in it. See how that is? This is what you want. Both of them, I got them all cleaned up. I took them out, clean off all the old grease and used brake clean, and I put it on the wire wheel. It all comes out really good. There you go. Now, you can get boot kits and stuff, and these aren't broken. There's nothing wrong with them. I'll probably stuff a rag in here real quick and clean them out if there's anything else in there. And we can reuse these boots again, but they do offer boot kits to put back on these your slides. All right, I'm going to show you just about every pin out there is round, okay? It's nice and round. And then some of these pins have a flat surface to it. And what I usually do is on that flat surface, I'll go ahead and spray. This is special grease for pins. I know it's dark in here, guys. I'll smear it around there on that one. On there, and then what I do is as I go back into here, I'm twisting it and I'm forcing that grease in. Now here's the deal, you do not want to pack that full of grease, because then if you do that, that pin won't go all the way in, and you're not trying to do that. You're just trying to make it loose in there. Put some grease in here. Gonna put some more. Where's that flat spot? Right there. They're real small areas. They're just a flat area that you can put the grease on so it flows in there easy. You're not pushing all that grease to the back. All right, you see there's not a whole lot of grease to it. So there you go. I swing it, I push it in, it does bottom out. Okay, that's plenty of grease for now. Now, next thing you got to do, I've cleaned this out. This particular seal, some of them don't do that. This one, you have to embed it inside the caliper. There's actually a groove. You see that round spot here? It's a groove that's in here. So this has got to be put back in the caliper. It snaps in there. It's in there right now. And then I'm going to add a little bit more grease on here so it gets inside this boot. And I really don't care where I put it on this one, because this is going to end up inside the boot in a way. As soon as I drag it through there, the boot will clean off whatever's there. So you've seen it's the mess. And this will actually, you got to push it in hard. And once it gets past that spot, there you go. You see it? Now that boot will slide on top of this. There you go. You see how that pushes out on its own? There's air stuck in there. It'll work its way out. Right there. It's all good. So in other words, these pins are back nice and free to move in and out of the calipers. All right, next thing is we need to put our new, the spring kits on the calipers. All righty, guys, I got them out of the box. There's 4 here. These are different than these 4, so we got to put them on right. All right, look at the difference in the size of these rotors, okay? The thickness. You can see they're very much different. How much thinner this side wore to that side. And the same thing, both. So these rotors are worn out. I guarantee you can't even cut these again. I don't know if they've ever been resurfaced. Probably have, I'm guessing. I never did. Let's get these new rotors on. They go on a certain way. All right, these are directional rotors. You can see that this is cut this way, how they're all going the same direction. Look at this rotor. They're now going a different direction. See them? the directional rotors, they have to go on the right way. This rotor is for the driver's side. You're going to want the rotor to spin this way, pads sit back here, and that way the rotor cuts into the brake pads right here, holds on to them. The other side, it will spin the other direction, rotate the same way. So this is the way this rotor will mount on the driver's side. Let me show you what else we did. And these rotors are heavy. All right, while I was down here, I greased the front end real quick. All right, now also, I wire brushed the surface all the way around. All the way around. It's clean, okay? What you don't want is to put a brand new rotor on something that's got rock in here that's going to cause that rotor to bow out a little bit. Even though it's tight, it's not going to be perfectly straight. You want the rotors flat against the surface, looking good. So I've always wire brushed there. You can even see how it's cleaned right here in this groove. So we're pretty good. All right. There it is. New rotors on. Now, that's one thing I've always done. I've always put a lug nut on, kind of to hold the rotor in the position it needs to be, just for now. That's just what Tony does. Nobody else has to do that. I kind of bring it down, snug it a little bit. And I'll show you what I mean. You can see right now that rotor moves around. Okay, I'm going to bring it all the way in. All right, here's your lug nuts on, okay? I have it barely on here. It's barely snug, but now I can rotate this rotor. It's sitting there, not flopping around. Now we can rebuild, put our brake system back on without having to worry about this rotor flopping around. All right, let's lower in our caliper bracket, okay? 2 bolts. I got all my new springs in it. You can see these new springs all the way around, 4 of them. We'll have 4 for the other side. Basically, you're just going to slide it back together the way you took it apart. Just let that dangle there. Let's get this bolt in. Tighten them up. These big bolts are torqued at 140 pounds, 150 pounds, I believe. It's a lot of work to tighten them babies up. Get yourself a torque wrench. Don't be using no 3/8 thing. You better get a torque wrench on that 1/2 inch drive. Get that one set in there. I don't ever tighten nothing up until I'm fully, everything's back on there basically. I mean, as far as this here, I'll go ahead and set the brake pads in. Let me show you the bottom of that brake pad right there. We'll slide in that groove. You're just going to push it in. Let me see, get you in there. Just slide that in, push it in the same way, up here the same way, push it, and it's now on the rotor, okay? It's sitting there. Now, get in there. I doubt you think you could see it, but there's that. We're going to slide that pad in. There it is. And we're just going to push that pad in and over, and there we go. We're on. Pad's on. These need to be put on. First thing I do now is, before I forget, I go and I'm going to get my torque wrench, and we have to torque these big babies in. All right, guys. 145 pounds of torque is a lot of torque to lay down on the ground. When you're on a shop up in the air, they get all the room to pull on it. So you can use any kind of method you can when you want to torque or loosen the bolts. I did the same thing with this pipe to get them babies loose. But when you're torquing this, you do not ever put a bar across this section of your bar. Only the handle. And then you'll go ahead and pull up until you hear the click. That's 140. It's 145 pounds. All right, here's your pin. This spring. I put the bottom one in already. They're tough to do. If you try to put them on the brake pad with the caliper off, what this spring does is spread apart your pads. So what it's trying to do is make the caliper and the brake shoe separate when you take your foot off the brake. Helps it free up the rotor to spin. So you have to find a way to put this in with the caliper on. The bottom one is on, okay? It's there. Now what I've done was, there's a pinhole. I know you can't see it, but I'm going to give you, there's a pinhole here. There's a pinhole here. I'll put this in here and you can see it go in. There it is. It's in. Now what we're going to do is, caliper is not bolted to the top, but it's hinging on the bottom, okay? So the bottom one's in. I laid on the ground, I stuck the caliper on, pushed it up high up this way, and stuck the spring like we're doing right now. As you see, this little hoop because end up going down in there. Now I'm grabbing the spring. You can't see it. And we put it in. There we go. Okay. There you go. So that spring is set. Now what we'll do is we'll push this caliper to where it needs to be. And that spring is set. And there we go. Now, where's my bolt? It's way over here. Now we put these bolts back in right here. These bolts here get torqued to 25 foot-pounds. Go ahead and just put these on really quick this way. Okay, there's a snug. I will put the wrench on, torque wrench, in a minute. All the way down there. Okay, that's snug. Now, basically, I am done here. I am going to get my torque wrench and get that one and that and the other one on the bottom. So this bolt was 145 pounds that holds this on. This is 25 pounds. I'm going to get the right socket for my torque wrench. There's my torque wrench. I'm going to get it done, get it all torqued. I'm going to put these wheels back on. I'm going to rotate them. Lug nuts. Must torque your lug nuts. They're supposed to be torqued at 120 pounds. All right, one thing I am going to show you that we do next is this driver's side's done. Everything's back together. Before I put the wheel on, I'm going in here. I'm pumping the brakes. One thing that's going to reset the caliper pistons where they need to be. Also, it's going to push some of that fluid that's in that master cylinder back down into this part of the system. We'll just push it 3 or 4 times. Brake is hard right now. We should be good. And I hold it for maybe, say, 10 seconds like this, just to make sure I have got no brake fluid leaks when I get out there. So we'll check that in a second. We're probably about 8 seconds in. I'm pushing hard. We're good. Any kind of leak from anything, we will see immediately. Any of the hoses, fittings, good. The fluid looks pretty good. And probably we do the other side, it will fill this canister up. But I'm going to get the other side done. I'll bring it back, like I said a minute ago, when this is all through. Hey guys, how's it going? Okay, the next morning. I didn't finish videotaping. I didn't finish showing you what I was going to do at the end because our storms that were moving in that evening, which was supposed to be a lot of rain, possibility really big hail, and a possibility, I'm talking about small possibility of tornadoes near us. It was approaching. I was out there working and I can hear the thunder and I can feel the air temp change, and I needed to get this thing done. So I got her done, and today I am out driving it, just local. Taking it up right now on the highway. I'm running it. I was running it, you know, down the side roads, applying the brakes, setting in the brakes a little bit. I firmly believe on these type brakes, you got to brake them in just real quick. And I've hit the brakes already a couple times pretty hard, and I've locked the front brakes up. So this thing is braking a lot better than before. Anyway, the final thing I showed you with the driver's side doing the brakes, just when you're done with everything, pump your brakes up, make sure they're good, then start your truck up, move it in and out your driveway a little bit, check your brakes, and then take it up on the road and just put a few miles on and brake them in. And like I said, right now I'm running about 70, and I'm fixing to turn off the road here in a minute, and I'll hit the brakes again. And you know, we're just setting them in, getting them ready. I got to take the trailer goes in to get 4 new sneakers. Hopefully maybe this week if they get some more in. And the next breakout job I'm going to be doing will be the Mountaineer. Yeah, I put these type brakes on the Mountaineer in 2000. And since then, I have driven it, I think, about 150 or 170,000 miles with those brakes. You cannot resurface drilled and cross-cut rotors. You must replace them. But here's the deal. for 120 bucks to your house, you get a new set of Detroit rotors and ceramic brake pads. You can't beat that. So just replace your rotors, guys. All right, we're gonna roll. Coming home a different direction. Y'all take it easy. Thanks for watching my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'm getting too close to you. All right, we'll see you later, guys. Bye.